Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story, and I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
I am that dude, Bodkins.
Yeah, DP lost to Beef. Yeah.
Right. Where he's wondering, he's like, I can't.
Patty.
He won style, like no weight classes.
Yeah, basically, like I said, there's been a couple guys that are like,
It's ridiculous. No way. There's nobody else out there. He's your guy.
That's just not my mentality, bro.
Yeah. Leave the ladder down. That's my always like, hey, somebody helped you out. Why not help somebody else out? Return.
Give a big round of applause for the one and only Bodkins Show.
Or bringing Craig Counsell down the interstate in a move unexpected. I had people.
I'm going to repeat that again, folks. I didn't stutter. Welcome to the Bodkins Show.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another great episode of the Bodkins Show. This is, I am your host, Bodkins, of course. This is our NFL Week 5 reaction show as we react to all the NFL stuff that has happened over the day. Man, a lot of questionable decisions on by a lot of questionable teams. I think if that's the way to take away. What the hell were the Bills fucking thinking? That's my takeaway today, right off the bat. My Packers won. Didn't play the best game. Defense up and down. Love still kind of up and down. But, hey, you know what? You find ways to win. They found ways to win. The Vikings find a way just to hold on for the second week in a row. Is there problems in Jetland? Aaron not great in London. What the hell happened with the Seahawks? How you let the Giants come clear across West Coast? No Singletary, no Neighbors, and the Giants find a way to win. The Commanders, they might be the best team. Then the Vikings might be the best team in the NFC. What they are continuing to do in Washington, Jaden Daniels, just go ahead and slap him Rookie of the Year. Speaking of rookies, for all the hate that Caleb Williams got, he probably had his best game of the day. One guy's team who joins me every week. His team finally gets its first win without Tua, and that's none other than Mr. Johnny Cruz. Johnny, what's up, my man?
What's going on, bro? I'm with you. Definitely a crazy Sunday of football. A lot of potentials for turd of the week. Some of the decisions that were made, not only by players but by organizations.
Yes,
we'll get deeper into that, I'm sure. But it was the one good thing about my team being garbage is that I was able to just watch the red zone all day. And then the couple times that it went to my game was actually, it was actually worthy of seeing what the hell was going on. So it was nice that they found a way to win a game, but a lot of craziness in the NFL today, man. But, like you said, Caleb Williams with a nice showing. Daniels in Washington with the commies he's balling out, man. They're playing well over there. So
they are, man. They look like a legit, a team that you're just like, man, I want to root for these guys. They're a good young team. They get young quarterback.
I ain't gonna front. I was a little bit against the Dan Quinn hire. I wasn't so much for the Dan Quinn hire. I thought they could do better than that, but he's doing a great job with that team right now. They're playing good defense, and the rookie is playing very well. And they got a really young squad there, man. So look out NFC East.
And Cliff Kingsbury, kudos, this is he is lighting up the scoreboard, you know what I mean? On his little, I don't know what you want to call it, reclamation. This is what he needs to just stick with. Don't worry about being a head coach, just be an OC, and it's okay. You know what I mean? There'll be a team out there after they see what he does with Jaden Daniels. They'll be like, hey, we're going to hire Cliff Kingsbury. And I don't think it's going to work then, because all he has to do right now is just sit in the lab and just cook. You don't have to worry about anything else, any of the egos, any of the this and that. All I got to do is sit in the lab with Jaden Daniels and just cook all day. And that's what he's doing. And they're putting up points. I think when you become a head coach, you got to also focus on the other side of the football, also manage egos, manage. Yes.
Attention to all three phases.
Yeah. You're in charge of everything, not just one thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think he might get an opportunity. I mean, if that's his ultimate goal, you know what I'm saying? I think he's going to be in a better position to handle it, having gone through being an OC. And that's why a lot of players and coaches talk about the fact of guys paying their dues on the way up. You know what I'm saying? To go right out of college, from a college head coach going to the NFL to be a head coach, it's not the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So you haven't gone through those different phases or different steps to get to that position. So now, like you mentioned, you know, basically a reclamation project in DC, being the offensive coordinator with a good young quarterback. Now he's, you know, he'll learn from Dan Quinn and stuff like that. So he'll be better prepared if he is given another opportunity. But like we talked about this morning and Thursday, some guys are just made to be, you know, coordinators.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, but he's doing a great job with that young man, and they're fun to watch, bro.
There's a lot of great coaches. Like you mentioned North Turner, Buddy Ryan was that same way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
and even
Buddy
Rex, you know, not to hate on Rex. Yeah, he got to the AFC title game twice with the Jets, but I think he was a better defensive coach. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I would hire him as DC on my team.
Yeah, same. Let's get into this morning's game. Speaking of your division, and that was the Vikings Jets. Jets barely. I mean, the Vikings barely hang on. Aaron Rodgers, not the greatest game. I mean, even with your Dolphins winning today, like, and not having Tua, like, their division's still winnable because everybody else in the division lost today. You know, the Jets win or lose, fall to 2-3. Vikings move to 5-0 in a game that it's the second week in a row they've jumped out to a leads, and slowly a team has been brought back. They find a way to win. You know, Aaron Rodgers, 29 of 54, 244 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Where was Breece Hall? Maybe they just got down and couldn't run the ball, but only 9 carries for Breece Hall is, sad. And then Garrett Wilson, he had a breakout game, 13 receptions, 101 yards, 1 touchdown. Alan Lazard, 4 for 34 and a touchdown. Vikings, not a great game by Sam Darnold, 14 of 31, 179 yards, 1 interception. Most importantly for the Vikings, Aaron Jones sat out most of the second half with the injury. They'll have a bye week. Hopefully he'll be back by then. 6 for 92 for Justin Jefferson. They didn't score an offensive touchdown, but the Vikings still find a way to win. Like, they're 5-0. The most surprising team in the NFL. I don't care what anybody says, but at 5, they're still 5-0, man.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Shout out to Brian Flores. He's doing a phenomenal job with that defense in Minnesota. Shout out to Andrew Van Ginkel with the pick 6. I know Dolphin fans are all in their feelings about the fact that we didn't re-sign him. It is what it is. Move on. I'm happy for him. He's having success with the coach that drafted him. But they're doing exactly enough to win ball games. They're not asking Sam Darnold to throw it, 30, 40 times. They want to run the ball. They want to play good defense. You mentioned Aaron Jones getting hurt, so they didn't have their feature back for most of the second half, but they made enough plays to win the game. And the defense is, like I said, is playing great. Three interceptions of Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, who doesn't throw many interceptions, but they got him for 3 of them, and they completely shut down the running game. So props to the Minnesota Vikings on a 5-0 start. And like you mentioned, with the Jets losing, they're 2-3. The Bills lost, and then of course we beat New England. So with all the drama and all the craziness that Dolphin fans are crying about, we are tied for second place in the AFC East. So and we don't have our starting quarterback. So calm down. Not the sky is not falling.
Have a starting quarterback at all, whether
the sky is not falling, people. It's only week 5. But no, that was an interesting start. It's nice to wake up in the morning. We had our our weekly dump this morning, which was a fun show. Definitely check that out if you haven't seen it yet. But we had some fun this morning with that conversation this morning, and then it's nice having, now I know how the West Coast people feel. You know what I'm saying? You wake up to some football, you know what I'm saying? It's nice, you know what I'm saying? So it was fun, and of course a Jets loss is always good for me.
True. Yeah. What do you make this? Scott says Bob Sala needs to be fired. Leave him in Europe.
There's been talk about that for a while.
I don't think he's a good head coach, and I've said that before, and I'll say it again. And it seems like, I don't care what Aaron says, it definitely does not seem like him and Bob are a cohesive unit together.
No, it doesn't seem that way at all. He may fall victim to what we were just talking about just being a good DC. And again, this is his first time being a head coach, so maybe, you know what I'm saying, he's taking his lumps. He probably is going to need an opportunity somewhere else, but he may be better off going somewhere and being a defensive coordinator. Because once they went and signed Aaron Rodgers, the expectations went sky high. And then you had Aaron Rodgers getting hurt last year after 4 plays. They managed to win 7 games with the whole Zach Wilson debacle. But this is exactly why, when people say, oh, well, they won 7 games with no quarterback last year, so this year they should win 11, 12, 13 games because they got Aaron Rodgers. It's a new season, man. Things happen, you know what I'm saying? Rosters change and stuff like that. So you never know what's going to happen year to year. So I'm sure if the season doesn't go the way they expect it to go, he'll probably be fired at the end of the season. I don't see him getting fired before the season ends unless Aaron Rodgers decides that he don't want him there no more. then I'm sure they'll fire him.
Yeah, that's the only thing is Aaron's running the show, and I kind of believe some of that stuff. They don't have the right culture there. He's trying to set the culture. So they're not going to fire Hackett because that's Aaron's guy. That's the only reason Aaron Rodgers is there is because of Nathaniel Hackett. So they're not going to fire Hackett. But it definitely doesn't look good there.
Well,
where was Breece Hall? You're not going to win many games with Breece Hall only getting 9 carries.
No, I completely agree with that. And it's not like they were completely out. I mean, I understand they went down early, but it wasn't an unsurmountable lead that they couldn't run and stay back in the game. But I don't think Minnesota was trying to let them run. They did a good job stacking the box. Again, kudos to Brian Flores and the defensive game plan for Minnesota. But this can go back to mini camp and shit like that, where there was that whole drama about him not attending the mandatory mini camp.
Now there's drama about the cadence, so
it seems like every little thing is more drama than it needs to be. It's gonna be interesting.
Well, that's what happens when you have Aaron Rodgers.
Absolutely. And as much as he was saying that, he ain't worried about that or whatever. Let's see how another L or 2 really puts the pressure on this team and see how they respond to it. Because there was some comments made in the locker room today where, you know what I'm saying, guys were kind of chippy with their answers and stuff like that. But they lose another game or 2, it's only going to get worse. So it's going to be interesting to see. I don't think he gets fired, like I said, unless Aaron Rodgers, basically wants him to get fired.
This year, he will be fired.
No, if they don't make. No, they need to make the playoffs and they need to make a run. If they make the playoffs and they're one and done, I think he still gets fired. Yeah. You don't bring Aaron Rodgers in just to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if he makes it through the season, you know what I'm saying, it'll be a win for him. But I don't think they go very far. But it's the AFC. Everybody and their mother's 2-3. You know what I'm saying? So. You know what I'm saying? It's still early. There's still time for them to turn it around, but signs aren't looking very good in Jetland right now.
Yeah, speaking of signs not looking very good, things aren't looking good in Carolina. They fall to 1-4. They lose to the Bears 10-36. Andy Dalton had the great 1 week, and last week was okay. This was bad. Andy, 18-28, 136 yards, 1 interception. That Bears defense is really good. Chuba Hubbard, 13 carries, 97 yards, and a touchdown. Nobody from the receiving. Jalen Coker, 4 for 68. Deontay Johnson. Exactly who? Deontay Johnson only had 3 receptions. Xavier Legette only had 1. And then you get to the Bears. I thought Caleb Williams' best game so far, of his young career. 20th, 29, 304 yards, 2 touchdowns, most importantly, no interceptions. DeAndre Swift, 21 of 73 and a touchdown. Roshan, 10 for 25 and 2 touchdowns. DJ Moore had a ball game, folks, 5 for 105 and 2 touchdowns. Yep. Some early possible dogs of the week here in Caleb and DJ Moore. The Bears, I mean, to me, it's like I don't know how they're 3-2, but they're 3-2 and they're getting better.
Yeah, they absolutely are. I'm with you there as far as this being Caleb's best game so far. And it goes to show that you can't believe everything you hear or read, because there was talk, throughout the week that DJ Moore wasn't happy with how he was being used and stuff going on in the locker room or whatever. Then he comes out and has a big game like he did today. But I'm with you that their defense is for real. I made the stupid mistake of believing in the Red Rocket doing some damage. You know what I'm saying? Thinking that they would be able to pull off this game against Chicago, and they got completely destroyed. And that just goes to show that the Carolina Panthers are complete ass, bro.
Yeah, they are. And maybe they're going to trade Deontay Johnson. Maybe they'll trade a couple other guys. But they got pieces.
They got pieces to trade away to try to get some draft capital, but with that owner, bro, I don't know what to expect with that team, right?
Yeah, you're right. With that owner, who knows what they're gonna do? Who knows what they'll do with Young? Who knows? Like, do you keep Andy Dalton? Do you go back to Bryce? I don't really know. Maybe stay with Dalton. I mean, they were competitive. One game, competitive in another, and they lost this game. So there's that. So. We'll
Don't you need to see what the kid can do? You know what I'm saying? I mean,
I think they already felt like they have. Like I don't, you know what I mean? But
so you think they're ready to move on already?
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
It doesn't seem like the coach is all that interested in the young man.
You want to put him out there and keep breaking his confidence and developing bad habits and playing under a shitty offensive line and just taking a beating every week. I don't think you really want to do that either,
Well, and that's the shitty part about it too, is that he should have sat all of last year. You know what I'm saying? He should have sat all of last year behind a more experienced quarterback, but they decided not to do that. And now you might have wasted the first 2 years of his career.
Yeah. We'll get into a guy whose career has probably been wasted, and I think it's over, and that's Deshaun Watson. I mean, 15 of 28, 125 yards, 1 touchdown. They let the best quarterback go that was in their on their team last year. That was Joe Flacco. The Browns stink, Johnny. They are, to me, like, and maybe because we had higher hopes than them. But the Panthers, to me, like, the Panthers stink, but the Browns are even worse. I just feel like maybe because you feel like the potential to be good is there, and it's just not good. Amari Cooper, 4 for 60. Then you get to the Commanders. We already talked about Jaden Daniels and the things that they're doing. 14 for 25, 238 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Rush for 11 carries, 82 yards. Brian Robinson Jr., 7 for 18 and 2 touchdowns. Austin Eckler, 6 for 67. Terry McLaurin is coming on, 4 for 112. De'Ami Brown caught the lone touchdown. We've already kind of hit on the Commanders. I don't know if you got anything you want to add about how bad and disappointing the Cleveland Browns are, following to 1-4. Their season's over. Like, they're not going to win. They're not catching the Ravens. They're not catching, like, their season is over. It's over. Sorry, Cleveland. Sorry, Bobby G. Those receipts that you were trying to keep, you might as well just light them up and burn them, because they're nowhere to be found. I think Bobby G is posting out. I saw on his Twitter. He thinks the 1-16, 1-15, and the 0-16 team could beat this Browns team. So when Cleveland's diehards and truths are saying it's bad, it's bad.
Yeah, it is bad, and we did get caught up again. This is a perfect example of their defense was so great last year that people just assumed that they would be just as good this year. The defense isn't horrible, but they're nowhere near as good and as dominant as they were last season. And I guess I'm kind of with you on the Deshaun Watson thing. They made their bed with it, you know what I'm saying? So that they have to deal with it now.
They double down. They keep doubling down. They're not going to go. Stefanski said we're not changing quarterbacks.
Well, I mean, you're paying him $250 million. You might as well let him stay out there and take that beating. You know what I'm saying?
Like the point is,
who else are they gonna put in there?
Jameis gives you right now. It gives you a better chance to win the damn game than Deshaun does.
Does he though? Like we don't know.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You know what?
That's the shit.
Hey,
well, I mean, he may be.
Jameis. I'd rather be eating W's with Jameis than hitting the massage parlors with Deshaun Watson.
I'm with you on that. I wonder if it's something coming from up top, and they're making him play him. You know what I'm saying? Since they're having to pay him so much money, maybe they're like, yo, fuck that. He needs to be out there on the field. But you saw that situation where they wanted to go for it on 4th down and he's just walking off the field. So it's a dysfunctional situation. At some point in time, I don't think he definitely doesn't want to get hit because he doesn't run nearly as much as he used to. So he doesn't want to get hit. So I wonder if it's just a matter of time before either Stefanski winds up getting fired because he's gonna resist what the ownership wants him to do.
2-time coach of the year.
Right. Well, I mean, but like at what point, if the higher ups are telling him that you got to play Deshaun, at what point does he grow a backbone and say, yo, no, we can't win with him? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If that's the case, you know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with Cleveland, but they are a dumpster fire. The only thing they got going for them is the fact that, you know what I'm saying, the Bengals aren't who we thought they were. You know what I'm saying? They're 1-4. Baltimore's only 3-2. Pittsburgh, we'll see what happens with them tonight against Dallas. If they do wind up playing, Allen put up there that there's a weather delay in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, there is.
So we'll see what happens there. But the whole AFC, except for Kansas City and Pittsburgh, you know what I'm saying? Most teams have 2 losses already. You know what I'm saying? So nobody's really out of it. And again, it's only week 5, so we'll see what happens the rest of the way with Cleveland. But they look horrible, bro, right now.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like Baltimore, they look like a team that, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, they got the 2 losses. They lost one of those games by half a foot. And and they should have lost today's game. And we'll get to them that game in a minute. But man, it's just like they look like a playoff caliber football team. The Browns can't do shit right. You know what I mean? And you're just like,
I'm with you on that. Yeah, the Ravens tend to beat themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. The Bengals look good. The Bengals just seem to kind of shoot themselves in the foot as well. They had every opportunity to win that game today and didn't. Like I said, like you mentioned, I'm sure we'll get to them in a little bit or whatever. But again, it's only week 5, but it just doesn't look good right now for the Cleveland Browns at all. And again, that defense isn't as dominating as they were last year.
No, and their offense is horrendous.
Yep.
Like it's just, I mean, that's just the way to say it, man. Like it's bad. Like I don't know if I've ever seen a player just fall off a cliff like Deshaun Watson has. Like.
Yeah,
like, I mean, his last year when he fully started in Houston, he was an MVP caliber team. Player.
Yes,
like
he was a top 5 quarterback, bro.
Yes.
He was a top 5 quarterback in Houston.
Sat for a year and a half, and now it's just it's done. Like
it may be exactly what Scott mentioned, where he said, sitting out. He mentioned it. He mentioned it more about Calvin Ridley as well.
Yeah.
You sit out of football that long. You saw what happened to Le'Veon Bell when he sat out. Years back.
Some people are not doing it.
Yeah, it's hard to sit out a year and a half of not doing something that you've done your whole life and then just get back and think that it's just gonna come right back to you. Especially as you get older, your body, you just don't want to take those hits. But at the same time, the thing is they guaranteed him that money, so he chilling. Yeah. He's probably like, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? He's going to get his money anyway, so why take the beating?
Yeah. He's paid. And now because of him, no other player will ever get a fully guaranteed contract ever again.
No. I'm with you. Talk Talk about bad offenses as we segue into this next game.
Yeah. Your Dolphins find a way to win 15-10. This was a back and forth game. The Patriots had a late chance to win the game on a Hail Mary, didn't work. Tyler Huntley, 18-31, 194 yards, 1 interception. Jalen Wright, 13 for 86. Raheem Mostert, 19 for 80. Devon Achane got hurt in this game. Tyreek, 6 for 69. They're slowly getting, figuring this thing out a little bit, Johnny. And then the Patriots, it is what it is with the Patriots. 18 for 30, 160 for Jacoby Brissett. Ramondre had 12 carries for 89 yards and 1 touchdown after he was benched. Didn't start. He did outgain and outcarry Antonio Gibson. So I think fantasy managers shouldn't have too much to worry about there. Mario Douglas had 6 for 59. Your thoughts on your Dolphins getting to 2-2?
Well,
2-3.
They're 2-3. It's definitely better than 1-4. But finally, it only took 3.5 quarters for Mike McDaniel to say, okay, I'm going to run the ball until they stop us. And they didn't stop us, and we actually drove down the field and scored a touchdown. So wouldn't you know, Mike McDaniel, run the fucking football. You know what I'm saying? We've only been banging on the table for that for the last few weeks. But Jalen Wright,
really, you got 3 guys that could just.
You got 3 guys, and you're so stubborn and hard headed, wanting to run your offense, even though your quarterback's not in there. Instead of just making it simple, running the ball, playing, especially because the defense has been playing well. Like, give your team a chance by running the ball and help the quarterback out. He finally committed to that in the second half, as you saw. Jalen Wright and Raheem Mostert both had over 80 yards rushing. Devon Achane got knocked the fuck out, so he's probably in concussion protocol. I don't know if he plays next week. Actually, they're on the bye week, so that helps him out.
That gives Huntley another week too to learn the playbook.
I was just about to say that. So hopefully, with the bye week, it gives Huntley a little bit more time to learn the offense. Hopefully, this game the tape of this shows Mike McDaniel, okay, what I'm saying? Yeah, we can run the ball. Let's run the ball until this kid gets more comfortable, or at least until Tua comes back. Even when Tua comes back, you need to be focused on running the ball to protect him. So hopefully this was the light bulb going off on Mike McDaniel, and he'll stop being such a stubborn ass. Run the damn ball, see what you can do. And you know what I'm saying, they pulled it out. Like I said, it took 3.5 quarters for them to do it, but they just looked horrible. The special teams, we missed a field goal. We had a horrible snap. It looked like the long snapper was bowling because he just rolled the ball over to the holder. We had a block punt. So all 3 phases have been kind of the defense has been okay. It's been pretty good for the most part, but Huntley is starting to make some plays. Guys need to make plays for him too. Waddle had a couple of drops. You know what I'm saying? A couple other guys had drops. So we got the bye week. Couldn't have come at a better time. We need to clean some shit up. We got the Indianapolis Colts, and then we got Arizona. You know what I'm saying? You got to put some. That's what I'm saying. You got to string some wins together before Tua comes back, if he even comes back. So hopefully this was the beginning of a little something better. But it was ugly there for a while. But again, they finally decided to run the ball. They ran the ball well, and were able to muster a win in New England, which we don't do very often. So I'll take it any way I can get it. So they're 2-3. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Speaking of the aforementioned Colts, I thought Doug Peterson was going to get fired right after this game if the Jaguars didn't pull this one out. This is a game they led at one point 24-10. They were up 2 scores, and they almost blew it. This was a wild game. Flacco hits Pierce for a 65-yard touchdown, but the Colts. Jags hit a game winner to win the game, 37-34. Jags get their first win of the season to 1-4. Colts fall to 2-3. Flacco 33 of 44, 359 yards, 3 touchdowns. I said that he was the best quarterback in Cleveland last year. He's probably the best quarterback in Indy this year. Remember, they didn't have no JT. He's banged up. Trey Sermon, 10 for 38 and a touchdown. Alec Pierce, 3 for 134 and a touchdown. Michael Pittman Jr. had his best game, 5 for 37 and a touchdown. It was a wild game down in Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence, 371 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. It was a bad interception at that. Tank Bigsby, 13 for 101, 2 touchdowns. Jesus, I need to start benching ETN, only 6 for 17. Brian Thomas Jr. continues to have a nice rookie season, 5 for 122 and a touchdown. Jags get their first win in what was a wild one down in Jacksonville.
Yeah, that was a back and forth. At the end there, it got very close. It started off going back and forth. Jacksonville jumped up ahead, like you said. I thought that game was over. So you barely saw anything. And I mean, Joe Flacco is playing with no kind of stress on his shoulders, bro. He's just slinging it. He's just slinging it.
At one point, he rushed for a 20-yard run.
Yeah, he had a 29-yard run, which was probably the largest run of his career. But he looks like he's having fun out there, bro. Like he's just letting it fly, and these kids are making plays for him, catching the ball. But this was definitely a much needed win for Jacksonville, because I'm with you. I think if they go 0-4 or 0-5, I think there is some serious problems there. I mean, it's still not a good thing being 1-4 and eking out a win like that against the Colts, but they found a way to win the game. Tank Bigsby has been playing well all year. There's been rumors about Travis Etienne possibly being on the trade block, so I wonder if that's why he didn't get as many carries. But yeah, the Brian Thomas, I love that kid. I wanted the Dolphins to draft him, even though he wouldn't be doing anything on our team because we can't throw the ball. But I like that kid a lot. So they got some good pieces in Jacksonville. Let's see what could happen. For the Jacksonville Jaguars, I don't expect them to do much as far as a playoff spot or nothing like that. But put a couple wins together and get out of that doghouse, because this was definitely a much needed win. But yeah, it's fun watching Joe Flacco play, bro, because he's just slinging it like old school, bro. He's just throwing it up to these kids. He's having fun out there. He's probably, I know he had fun at Baltimore, obviously, because they won a championship or whatever, but there was so much pressure on him when he was in Baltimore.
After he signed that big deal.
Yeah, now he's just having fun. Like, he was having fun last year in Cleveland, and now he's having a good old time in Indianapolis, putting up some numbers, bro.
Yeah, that's probably the guy the Dolphins should have got as their backup quarterback.
I was banging on the table for some type of a vet. You know what I'm saying? I wanted somebody with some experience.
If they had Joe Flacco, you know what I mean?
He would have. He at least would have been able to run the offense. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Maybe not as great, you know what I'm saying, or as pinpoint but he would have been able to run the offense.
You're not doing RPOs with him, but you're doing
right. But you can do all the other shit, all the quick throws, quick read shit, all the you know what I'm saying, all the mesh stuff. Like, they could have run the offense with Joe Flacco. I think he's smart enough that he would have been able to get a grasp of it fairly quickly. And who knows? Because he wouldn't have been afraid to let it rip. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you got Tyreek, Waddle, and everybody out there. I think he would have put up hella numbers with the Dolphins. But it is what it is. I like Tyler Huntley, what he's doing. I like his mobility with his legs. But Joe Flacco is definitely entertaining. We'll see what happens with Anthony Richardson going down to the line. But Joe Flacco's having fun in Indianapolis.
Yeah. Speaking of,
this is crazy. This one was crazy, bro.
This game, another wild game. The Texans were up huge on the Bills. They were up 28-3 at one point, and here come, or not 28-3, it was 20-3 at one point. Yeah. Here come the Bills storming back. I'm going to go through the stat. Well, actually. So in this game was crazy. The Texans get close to field goal range, can't quite get it. So they're like, hey, we're gonna punt, we're gonna pin it, and they pin. What a fucking punt puts the Bills at their own 3-yard line. We're talking. This is less than 2 minutes to go here. Just run the fucking ball, Buffalo. What are you doing?
It was way less than that, bro. It was what, a little over a minute. It was a little over a minute.
Right? They had 3 timeouts. Just run the ball. Play for overtime and call it good, right? Like, you're all the way backed up.
Right.
3 throws, no time really taken off the clock. Then they punt it. Not a great punt. 2 throws later, I mean, then Kai Fairbath comes in and drills the game winner. Right. Texans win a wild one to go to 4-1. The Bills fall to 3-2. What the hell was Buffalo thinking? Like, I don't understand in that time. Like, just play for overtime. And then you get a chance to, you know what I mean? You're in the second half. Your defense has been holding the Texans. They hadn't scored. Right. They didn't score, but 3 points. They scored a field goal, 6 points the whole fourth quarter, the whole second half. What are you doing? Just play for overtime. Maybe you win the toss. You can score a touchdown, win the game. If not, they win the toss. You hold them to a field goal. You still get the damn ball. Like This isn't the old days. Like, it would astonish me that I could see one throw first down. Hey, let's just see if we can get a good throw on first down. Right. Pick up some yards. But then after that, like, second and third down, and you're launching it, and then you're punting in the back of your end zone where safety could happen. You're causing too much problems, and then not a great punt. Texas got a great field, but I hated the whole sequence, and I thought it cost the Bills the game.
Yeah, I'm completely with you on that. That was definitely some actions there that are deserving of some possible turds. Right there. That whole sequence was horrible. The whole way. I mean, Josh Allen obviously didn't put up great numbers, 9-30, 131, and a touchdown. But when he hit his head on the ground, my man was asleep, bro.
Yeah.
He was asleep for a second. Yeah. And they took him to the sideline, and they gave him the smelling salt, and he passed protocol and was able to come right back in the game. And you know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden, I mean, he did not look like himself. Not that he's the most accurate quarterback ever, but on those 4 throws from the end zone, they weren't even close, bro.
Yeah, you're throwing him out there after he got rocked.
So you throw him out there after he got rocked. You put him in a horrendous situation, being at your goal line. Like, you essentially handed the Houston Texans the game there. Yeah. So that was just a completely disastrous sequence right there by Sean McDermott and the coaching staff there. It was absolutely ridiculous. You deserve to lose that game. That was just not smart football, man. You run the ball. You hope that the time runs out, or at least make them use their timeouts, and then you at least give your punter some kind of space to be able to punt the ball away, and hope that your defense can hold them and just go into overtime. But
if you run the ball 3 times, I think the Texans are just going to let it go to overtime.
I think they would. I think they would have too. But you just basically gave the Houston Texans that win there. So the
Texans didn't have any timeouts, so they couldn't stop the clock.
Okay, I wasn't sure about that. So then you literally lost the game then for your team there, Sean McDermott. That's completely on you. And we may be saying your name again later on tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Let's read down the stat line again real quick. 9 for 30, 131 yards for 1 touchdown for Josh Allen. James Cook, 20 of 82 and a touchdown. The one touchdown that Josh Allen threw was to Keon Coleman, 1 reception, 49 yards. The Texans, they fought in ways to win. It's not pretty in their wins, and they're all close games, but they're still a young team. They're learning on the fly, Johnny. 28 of 38, 331 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Cam Akers led the rushing with 9 for 42 and a touchdown. Stephon Diggs in his revenge game, 6 for 82. Nico Collins got banged up in this game, but before he left, 2 for 78 and a touchdown. It'll be interesting what that injury is and how soon he'll be able to come back. But nonetheless, Texans win 23-20.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, they're finding ways to win games. And for a young team, having to deal with some of the adversity that they're dealing with in order to win these games is only going to help them down the road and come playoff time. So I like what Houston's doing. I like what D'Amico's doing with that team. They play good defense. CJ doesn't make many mistakes. They run the football. They've got a bunch
for Nico.
Man. So hopefully he's okay. They got plenty of weapons though to be able to hold it down until he gets better.
He's been their dude though. Like he's been. Strap safety guy.
Yeah. Well, but this is why you traded for Stephon Diggs. Now's his time to step up. They still got tight ends. They still got other players there. So. They're still playing in the worst division in football. So Just handle your business. You know what I'm saying? Houston, and they'll be all right. They'll be in there. Probably winning the division. I think we all picked them to win the division, but they're finding ways to win games. It's not coming easy to them, and they get it. It's gonna help them by them being battle tested. It'll help them come playoff time.
Yeah, it's just one of them teams right now. Like even a little bit of the Vikings. Like it seems like every year there's a team where one year the ball always bounces their way. Call kind of goes always their way. Right now, that's the Texans. And there's other teams that are really good teams that the ball does not bounce their way. And I feel like that's the Bengals right now. And what was absolutely another wild game in this one, like the Ravens jumped out to a 14-0 lead. Here come the Bengals answered right back with 17. Then they scored 14 in the fourth, and they have a 10-point lead. Here comes back the Ravens. They tie it up to send it into overtime. And then in overtime, the Ravens fumble the ball. The Bengals get it. Then they miss the extra point. They missed the field goal because it was a high the holder couldn't hold it down. Jets very next play, Derrick Henry damn near houses one. The ultimate highs and lows for the Cincinnati Bengals is they fall to 1-4. Ravens win 41-38. Lamar 26 of 42, 348 yards, 4 touchdowns. And I know you've seen the play. Holy shit! Speaking of one of them touchdowns, he was almost tackled, runs clear across, and he does the QB no right, where he kind of throws it across his body, but finds Isaiah Likely in an absolutely insane touchdown catch and play by Lamar, showing why he's the reigning MVP. That's an MVP type play. Derrick Henry 15 for 92 and a touchdown. Lamar ran 12 for 55. Zay Flowers 7 for 11. Charlie Kohler 3 for 64 and a touchdown. Rashad Bateman 4 for 58 and a touchdown. I think it's officially fantasy season over for Mark Andrews. The Bengals, Joe Burrow did everything and he possibly could. Did throw a bad interception, but 30 of 39, 392 yards, 5 touchdowns. Chase Brown 12 for 46. Zach Moss hurt his ankle in this game. Jamar Chase had a game, 10 for 193 and 2 touchdowns. T. Higgins, 9 for 83 and 2 touchdowns. But all for naught as the Bengals lose. And they fall to 1-4, and it's a tough game. We talked about it this morning. That's a tough loss for them because it essentially sets you 2 back of the Ravens.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, this was definitely one of the more entertaining ball games today. We talked about it on this morning show. This is one that we were both anxious to see what happened in this game. I think it exceeded the expectations. It was a fun game. It was a couple lead changes. It went right down to the wire. Both quarterbacks making plays for their team. When Lamar Jackson fumbled that, what you're saying, I thought they just gift wrapped it right there for the Bengals. And then, the holder can't hold on to the snap on the field goal try. And it was just craziness, man. And Lamar making plays that he needed to make. I know everybody says, Cincinnati's a notoriously slow starting team, but 1-4 that's a bad spot. That's a bad spot to be in, especially in that division with the Baltimore Ravens, with Pittsburgh off to the start that they're off to.
They've only won 7 games against the AFC since the start of last year and this year.
Yeah. Now, when are we finally going to start hearing about Zach Taylor? And whether or not he keeps his job, because they had that Super Bowl run in Joe Burrow's second year, but they've done pretty much nothing else any of the other seasons. So it's gonna be interesting to see how it finishes off. Again, it's only week 5, so I'm trying not to get too far ahead of myself. But 1-4 is rough, especially in that AFC North, man.
Yeah, and then in the AFC, right? Like they're building a whole. Like if they would have won today, being 2-4 or 2-3, you're like, hey, they still got a chance. They just beat the Ravens, but man, to take the loss like that at home to the Ravens, had a buddy of mine.
It's not going to get much. You're saying, like, I'm gonna try to look at Cincinnati now. You know what I'm saying? Because from here they got who they got after this.
Got the Giants next Sunday night. That's a winnable game. They do got the Browns. That should be it. But Joe Burrow struggled against the Browns.
Right, that's what I'm saying. You just don't know. The Giants came up with we'll talk about it shortly, I'm sure, but the Giants came up with a big win today. The Browns, you never know with a divisional game. Then they got to host the Eagles. The Raiders should be a win, but then they got Baltimore again. The Chargers, who are playing good football.
Yeah,
the Steelers, the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Like that's a rough schedule, bro. Like they could easily find themselves like 3-8. You know what I'm saying? After 11 weeks, and then what? You know what I'm saying? So
Zach Taylor deserves to be fired. Too much talent, and they're going to say they paid too many people, and Zach Taylor will be fired at that point in time.
Yeah, if it gets to that point, I'm with you on that one. But we'll see what happens, man. Hopefully they can bounce back against the G-men next week.
Yeah, the Raiders go to Denver and they lose this one 34-18. Denver's on a 3-game winning streak, baby. Not one, not two, but 3 in a row for the Denver Broncos. 34-18. Gardner Minshew, 12 of 17, 137 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, was benched at one point in this game for Aiden O'Connell. He didn't do much better, 10 of 20, 94 yards, interception. Amir Abdullah, 5 for 42 and a touchdown. Brock Bowers, 8 for 97 and a touchdown. Jacoby Myers, 6 for 72. Obviously, no Devontae. Bo Nix, 19 for 27, 206 yards, 2 touchdowns. Javonte, 13 for 61 yards. Javonte Williams, 5 for 50 in the receiving game. Broncos, I mean, their defense is legit, and it finds ways to win. Bo Nix didn't turn the ball over. Denver wins. Let me ask you this before we get to the game. I saw this thing, and the more I think about it, the more I kind of like it. If you're the Raiders, do you call Atlanta Falcons and say Devontae for Michael Penix and let's just say a 2nd-round pick or a 3rd-round pick or something? Or I don't think Devontae South some of his salary.
I don't think Atlanta will do it. I think Atlanta's more than content to let Penix sit behind Kirk Cousins for the 2 years or whatever, and then turn it over to him.
But you got to go all in because they
have wide receiver. No, I hear you, but
Devontae Adams, Drake London, like
I'm not giving up on the number 8 pick, a quarterback for you know what I'm saying? Because then what happens if things don't go right? You know what I'm saying? Is Devontae gonna be all pissy in the offseason and want another trade? You know what I'm saying? So
if you get a Super Bowl or not, you know.
If I'm Atlanta, I start looking at other people. I call Cincinnati about T. Higgins. I call Jacksonville about Christian Kirk. Or I know they're not at the level. I know that those receivers aren't at the level of Devontae, but I don't want to deal with the headache, and I'm definitely not giving up on the quarterback that I just drafted. You know what I'm saying?
The Raiders need a quarterback, and
I hear you. The Raiders are in dire need of a quarterback, and that's what they get for going with the mullet master and Gardner Minshew.
Well, they wanted to trade up to get somebody, and somebody said no.
So then you make it happen. You know what I'm saying? You throw in that extra pick to move the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? If you really want to move up to get somebody, then you make it happen to move up and get somebody. You know what I'm saying? They obviously weren't aggressive enough to move up to get their guy that they wanted to get. So now you're stuck here. You paid all that money for Christian Wilkins, and you're still the Raiders. So, right.
Hey, speaking of still what is going on in San Francisco? I know that they got guys hurt, but man, they fall to 2-3 as the Cardinals go into San Francisco and Santa Clara, I guess you should say. And shock the 49ers win 24-23. Kyler Murray had a 50-yard run in this game for a touchdown. He also ran through for 195 and a touchdown. James Conner had 19 for 86. Marvin Harrison only had 2 receptions in this game. Michael Wilson 5 for 78. Brock Purdy threw a bad interception late in this game. 19 for 35, 244 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Jordan Mason, 14 for 89. Brandon Ayuk, 8 for 147. George Kittle, 8 for 64 and a touchdown. Debo only had 1 reception. Johnny, what's going on with the defending NFC champions? It just slow starter. It is notorious that the loser of the Super Bowl, they usually don't do well the following season. And I don't know if that's just the
I don't think that's the case right here, because they were in the Super Bowl a few years ago, and the next year they were still a good team and played well. I think it's a matter of you saying Arizona. It's a divisional game. Arizona is not afraid of them at all. Kyler Murray is, when he is playing well, is a top quarterback. They got some pieces there. The coach, I keep forgetting his freaking name every time we talk about it, but he always has that team prepared and ready to go. They did a good job with the game plan. They got to Brock Purdy, and he made some mistakes. I know that they did some good things without Christian McCaffrey, but there's a reason why Christian McCaffrey is Christian McCaffrey, and they don't have him right now. And Brandon Ayuk, I don't know. Maybe he should have worked out a little bit more while he was holding out.
I mean, it wasn't his fault. He had a heck of a game today. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the chemistry with the whole team doesn't seem to be there.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of they got beat. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't think it's anything that 49er fans should be panicking about or whatever. Again, it's a divisional opponent. You know what I'm saying? It happens. The Rams lost as well. It's not like that division is all that hard.
No, everybody, the West lost, right? We're getting ready to talk about the Seahawks. They lost. Rams lost.
Everybody wound up losing. So
Arizona's the only team that won, I guess, because they
So I don't think it's going to affect the 49ers that bad. I just think Brock Purdy made a couple mistakes in this game. Arizona made some plays, man. Kyler Murray made some plays. You mentioned with his legs as well. That was a fun game to watch. I thought San Francisco had it there for a second. And then Arizona made some plays there at the end to come back and win that game.
Yeah. And you're going to have that with the talent that Arizona has, like a guy like Kyler who can create and things like that. At the moment, I'm with you, Scott. They're not, you know what I'm saying? I mean, at the moment, they are not the 2 or 3 best teams.
No.
They may not be one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the NFC.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and again, it's still early, people, before you know what I'm saying, you start bombarding us or whatever, but you know what I'm saying, it's early in the season, but San Francisco, they look like a mediocre team at this point right now. And I don't want to hear about injuries, because everybody has to deal with injuries.
Yeah.
So,
speaking of, not the best teams in the NFC, but also a shocker, Giants win. They block a field goal that and return it for a touchdown for the to seal it. They win 29-20. Giants, Daniel Jones, 23 of 34, 257 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tyrone Tracy Jr., 18 for 129. He's the backup running back, but no Singletary, as I mentioned, and no Neighbors. Darius Slayton, 8 for 122 and a touchdown. The Seahawks, Geno, 284 yards, 1 touchdown. 4 carries for 72. Kenneth Walker, only 5 carries in this game. You got to have more than that for Kenneth Walker. Only 5 for 19. Tyler Lockett, 4 for 75. Jackson Smith and Megama caught 4 balls for 31 and a touchdown. Second straight loss here for the Seahawks after starting the season 3-0, Johnny.
Yeah, it didn't look like a very good game from Seattle at all. The Giants defense came to play. Daniel Jones made some plays. You mentioned without Singletary, without Neighbors. They still made some good plays, did some good things there. They play good defense. They ran the ball well. Saying they went at Seattle. Got some big turnovers in that game there. A big fumble by DK Metcalf in that game. And then, like you mentioned, at the end there to block the field goal and return it to secure the win. Big ups to the G-men for going across country and handling their business against a tough opponent at home. But like you mentioned, that's the second loss in a row for Seattle. So why they're not running the ball more, I have no freaking idea, bro. You know what I'm saying? So unless there's an injury that they're not wanting to disclose about Kenneth Walker,
he's coming back off an injury. Like I remember,
right? But even Zach Charbonnet didn't get many carries.
Yeah, no,
you know what I'm saying?
No.
So they didn't run the ball much at all. So I don't understand the thinking behind that. You know what I'm saying? And granted, the Giants' defensive front is one of the best ones in the league, but you know what I'm saying, you gotta attempt to run the ball more than 10 or 11 times or however many times it was, because it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, the Seahawks. They looked, I don't know, not great, but they were winning games. And then that ruined my Survivor. I had Seattle as my lock of the week. I figured no neighbors, no Singletary, clear cross country. Seahawks got this.
Yeah, I mean, I went with San Francisco. I lost my shit too.
Yeah. So Giants.
And the shit is that I thought the Cardinals would keep it close. I picked the Cardinals in our picks to cover the spread. I didn't expect the Cardinals to win outright, but that goes to show how much we know.
Yeah, not much. I mean, that's why you play the game, baby. My Packers get a nice win in LA, 24-19. Jordan Love actually throws his first pick six in this game, and it was an awful fucking.
God, it was ugly.
It's like a Brett Favre fucking play, man. I was like, God, this guy wore his jersey last week, played like him last week with the 2 interceptions, then does another play like this. Like, this is Brett Favre-esque. But then he threw one bomb before that to Jaden Reed, like put it right on the money, like 2 defenders. And
3 defenders, bro. 3 defenders.
Yeah, and it was just like the only where Jaden can get it. Like, it's throws like that where you're like, oh man, like this kid's is gonna be special.
Yep.
And just an incredible throw. Not a great game, but a decent game from him. 15 for 26, 224 yards, 2 touchdowns. Josh Jacobs had his first touchdown as a Green Bay Packer, 19 for 73 yards and a touchdown. Tucker Kraft, 14 for 88 and 2 touchdowns. Jaden Reed, 4 for 78. Guess what, Romeo Dobbs? We didn't need you today. Our offense. We missed all the explosiveness as we're missing practice. Well, we didn't miss you. Matthew Stafford, 29 of 45, 260 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. They were driving the ball down to try to win this game, and they just couldn't get it. Nice stop by the Packers in this one. Kyron Williams had himself a day, 22 of 102 and a touchdown. Jordan Whittington, the rookie, had a nice game, 7 receptions for 89. Your thoughts here on Packers Rams?
Yeah, that was a fun game there. That was one of the ugliest interceptions that I've seen. Granted, he was just trying to get rid of the ball to avoid the safety. And props to him for taking that hit and not going down immediately. You know what I'm saying? But it probably would have been better off if he just went down and it would have been 2 points as opposed to giving up 6.
Yeah.
But he tried to just get rid of the ball and threw it right to the defender. But that, like you mentioned, that throw to Reed was just absolutely beautiful. Like I'm a big fan of Jordan Love. You know what I'm saying? Like shit. You know what I'm saying? All 3 of your freaking quarterbacks have been some of my favorite quarterbacks to watch, man. I don't know. I guess in another life I was probably a Packer fan.
It probably was. Hey, there's plenty of room on the bus for you. I'll say.
Well, I mean, as far as NFC teams, you said, you're my boy, so I want you to be happy. So I'm gonna root for the Packers for you. But I think a key thing here is you mentioned Josh Jacobs, 19 carries, 6 carries for what's his name for Wilson.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Reed had 2 carries. You know what I'm saying? Then Jordan so you guys ran the ball 30 times. You know what I'm saying? Again, playing good defense, running the ball to help support your young quarterback. He makes just enough good throws, and you win football games like that. It's not that hard, Mike McDaniel. You know what I'm saying? So props to Matt LaFleur. We talked about this, when Love got hurt several weeks ago. We're going to find out a lot about your coach. I think your coach has been proven that he knows what the hell he's doing. That Packer team is a good squad. Yeah, you're looking up at Minnesota, who hasn't lost a game yet, but I think they'll fall back down to reality a little bit, and you guys will definitely be in contention to win that division. But the Rams, everybody and their mother's hurt on the Rams. So it just is what it is. But you know what I'm saying, you guys did what you had to do. You handled your business, and you won a good tight game there against the Rams. And you know what I'm saying, like I told you, you got a dude, bro. He just needs to cut out the stupid shit. You know, once he outgrows that stuff, and again, that's him just trying to get rid of the ball. You know what I'm saying? Once he gets that out of his system or whatever, he's got all the ability in the world, bro.
Yeah. So Scott said he did well in the pick'ems. So let's go ahead and get to it. As we get ready to end our show here, we always end the week with our turd and dog of the week. We'll start off with our turd of the week. Go ahead.
I don't know if you were gonna go there. We mentioned it a little bit in our text thread earlier, but I'm going with Sean McDermott and the whole Buffalo Bills coaching staff. First of all, that sequence at the end there where you're throwing the ball 3 straight times was the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. When you, instead of just, you're at your 2-yard line, just run the ball, go into overtime and see what you can do. Your defense has been playing well up to that point. But besides that, Josh Allen was asleep, bro. Like, he got knocked out, and you literally just gave him some smelling salt and said, all right, kid, get back out there. You know what I'm saying? What happened to, you know what I'm saying, worrying about these players and their safety and all this and that? You know what I'm saying? That you could have put him in a bad situation there. I'm glad nothing else happened after that, but he was sleeping on that ground for a few seconds. So he was definitely concussed, even if he passed whatever protocols there were. So the Buffalo Bills organization for not for not protecting Josh Allen from Josh Allen, and for that awful sequence at the end of the game there to basically give the Houston Texans that win. The Buffalo Bills, Sean McDermott is my turd of the week.
Yeah, I mean, you're right on. It is I couldn't even argue with. I was trying to look for another turd, but there is no bigger turd than Sean McDermott for all the reasons that you just said. Just run the damn ball and take it into overtime. Like, play for tomorrow instead of right now. Like, backed up on your own 2. You had the incredible comeback. They were going to let you go into overtime, and then you just give the Texans the win. Just said, here, we don't want to win this one. You can have it. And that's exactly what the Bills did. Sean McDermott and the Buffalo Bills are both our NFL Week 5 turd of the week. So, and
definitely well deserving, bro.
Yeah.
Well deserving.
I couldn't believe it. It just mismanaged.
Even after the first throw, like you mentioned, if you're going to throw it one time, okay, let's see what happens. And it wasn't even like it was an out. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like they were just trying to get yardage. They were trying to get yardage and get out of bounds at the same. Like, it was just all stupid, bro.
Yeah. Let's go ahead. Who is your NFL Week 5 dog of the week?
My Week 5 dog of the week. I'm gonna go back to the end of the week, end of last week. I'm going to Thursday night. You know what I'm saying? You like that himself, Mr. Kirk Cousins. 42 for 58, 509 yards, 4 touchdowns. He did have 1 interception, but it's all good. They defeated a division rival in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Everybody was riding high with Tampa Bay off of their win the week before. Atlanta defended home field. Big win for Kirk Cousins in that division. Put up more yards than Matt Ryan ever did on Matt Ryan night when they were celebrating Matt Ryan. So props to Kirk Cousins. He is my dog of the week.
Yeah, it hurts to say this, and obviously as a Packer fan, to prove that there is no bias on this damn show, my NFL Week 5 dog of the week is none other than Caleb Williams. That's nice. Right. I said he had his best game, helped lead the Bears. He is 20 of 29, 304 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. The Bears beat down the Panthers to get to 3-2. Caleb Williams is my NFL Week 5 dog of the week. You could even slide in his homie DJ Moore if you wanted to.
Absolutely. That was definitely an honorable mention one for me. You mentioned Lamar and Joe Burrow putting up the crazy numbers they both put up. But no, Caleb Williams is definitely deserving of that. I agree with you. It definitely was his best game as a professional. And let's see if they can build from it. I mean, I know you as a Packer fan, you don't want to hear that, but it's going to be a fun division. If, you know what I'm saying, Jordan Love is who we think he is, if Caleb Williams could be that guy, you got Jared Goff in that division. Sam Darnold is playing well for Minnesota, even though they drafted a young kid. But the NFC North is going to be an interesting division. It's gonna be a fun division for years to come, and it's gonna be a fun season this season between your Packers and those Chicago Bears.
Yeah, it will be. I'm excited for the rest of the season. I'm excited to keep doing these reaction shows with you, my brother. We'll be back this time next week for week 6, 7 o'clock Central, 8 Eastern. Johnny, go ahead and get I know you want to go ahead and plug your Dolphins show, so go ahead and get it in.
Yes, absolutely. People, first of all, if you're new, hit the subscribe, smash that like button, and make sure you turn on your notifications so you know whenever we are live here on the Bodkins Show. But if you want to hear me, Byron, and Alex talk all things Miami Dolphins, the Can Do Sports Network, tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, the Dolphin Chronicles, where we will recap the game from today and all things Miami Dolphins. So definitely check us out there.
Hey, be a friend, tell a friend, folks. Like, subscribe, share. I'm going to hit that outro, and we'll see you next week, folks.
Peace.